Hi, my name is Chef Ambarish Lulay. I am a professionally trained chef. Here demonstrating some grilling techniques using coffee coals, charcoal made out of recycled coffee grounds. Okay, so we're gonna start with grilling some red meat. I'm gonna season my beef here, just a light drizzle of oil on there. You know, not too much because I don't want that burnt oil flavor on my steaks, okay? So, nice generous amount of salt. Red meat has one friend. As long as you have it seasoned well with salt and pepper, everything else is gonna fall in place. Fresh ground pepper on there. Repeat on both sides. You want to make sure that you get every inch of that piece of meat seasoned. We're using a couple different flavor combinations here, right? The beef being your main flavor. We're going to season it with salt, pepper, but the main ingredient for seasoning here is the smoke. The char that it's going to catch from these lovely charcoals is going to actually prove to be a killer seasoning ingredient. I have my grill kind of split into two. I have a hot searing area over here and then a medium sort of heat from the other side of the grill. As I mark those steaks and get them nice and hot and they get some char on them, I'm going to move them to the lower heat areas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start putting these steaks on the grill. So I'm using my hot searing sort of heat to get the flavor on the steak. The drippings that are going to come off the steak are going to help season the steak in the form of smoke that rises back up into the steak. Now, the part where the protein meets the grill is the most critical part of the grilling process. And the most common mistakes people will make is try to mess with the protein. We're gonna leave that meat on there and not worry about messing with it for a good 3 to 5 minutes. And that's what's gonna give us that nice caramelization, that nice charring that is allowed by this beautiful heat from these charcoals. Even though these charcoals are made out of coffee grounds, they don't really smell like coffee. They just have a wonderful clean charcoal smell to it, no chemically sort of overtones to that smell, and that's exactly what professional cooks will look for. So the steaks have been on there for about 4 to 5 minutes, and what I'm trying to see is a nice char, and that's where we have it. It's a beautiful, even char. You see the sizzle on those steaks? So, like I said before, the key is not to disturb the steaks or the protein as it sits on the grill. You will have a chance it will start to come off the grill if it's a sticky protein. You know, the grates will leave some of that protein off and it will unstick. So have patience, don't try to mess with it too much. Once you get some nice grill marks on it, you're gonna sear the other side. At this point, if you had, let's say, corn on the cobs that you want to throw on the grill, you could also add that along the periphery where the heat is a lot less. They can just sit on there, do their thing. I'm also going to add a few onions for grilling. That way you have a nice full grill, you're utilizing every part of it. As soon as these onions have some marks on them, I'm going to remove them, move the steaks over, and we're good to go. So we're checking on our steaks. The onions have started to get some char on it, and move the steaks to a slightly less hot area, so they can get cooked to whatever your desired temperature is. You can use a thermometer if you wish, and what you really want to do is you want to take one of your steaks to temp and go at it from the side, and you can get a good read. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and remove these. I'm going to pull my steaks and subject them to a good 10 minutes of resting. What the resting does is it allows for the juices to redistribute throughout the steak and thereby giving you a nice juicy steak. The juices want to run out. You want to give them an opportunity to come back right to the middle of the steak and keeping it nice and moist and juicy. If you cut it too soon, juices are going to bleed all over the place and you're not going to have a good steak. What I personally also like to do is, at this point, while the steak is resting, you can see the nice juices on the steak. A light sprinkle of salt, not too much, just a nice little sprinkle of kosher salt on top is gonna get some of that seasoning back on the surface of the steak. It's kind of gonna melt the salt and get the juices seasoned, if you will. So as these are resting, we can have our corn sitting on the side and do its thing.